Thank you for joining us for this episode of Springdale Today. I'm your host, Mary Jordan. Joining us today are Project Adam Coordinator Charles Wooley with Arkansas Children's Hospital, Walker Elementary School Principal Lynn Ryan, and Walker 5th grader Ezra Wilson. We're going to be discussing how district schools such as Walker can provide life-saving care through Project Adam training and certification. Guys, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having us.
Very nice.
We got a chance to see the Project Adam team here in action recently, so I'm really looking forward to this conversation. It was really cool to see everybody moving and the preparedness with which everybody acted. Now, Charles, for those of us who may not be familiar with Project Adam, what is it and how is it something that Arkansas Children's has really taken ownership of in the state?
Oh yeah, so Project Adam started with a young man named Adam LaMille in 1999. Unfortunately, Adam died on a basketball court and did not receive proper interventions. The preparedness piece that you just spoke about was not in place for Adam, and his mom and dad actually partnered up with a friend who was a cardiologist, and they said, we've got to do something about this, right? And so this happened in another state in the north part of our country, and this thing has grown from that very first kind of grassroots intervention to now all across the United States in 48 different affiliates. Project Adam is growing, and there's schools just like Walker Elementary all over the country that have increased preparedness, all kind of rallying around the idea that we can do better in life-saving emergencies.
That's amazing. How many district schools are heart-safe schools for Project Adam, and what does it mean to have such trained personnel on site at a school?
I'm going to answer your last question first. What it means is that people can react in a timely manner to save a life, period, hands down, no matter what the medical emergency is. If it's life-threatening, time is the most important thing. And the quicker we can get there with life-saving interventions and life-saving equipment, that's the best chance that increases their opportunity of survival. And that's really their only chance of survival. That's what it means. And to answer your first question, every school in Springdale School District is heart safe designated. And we're on the very first go around, we're actually going now and doing redesignation drills, which I'm very proud of, because these redesignation drills, you see how much these teams have grown, how much they have honed in on the things that matter. They're getting better and better and better. They're faster, they're better at it. There's more awareness in the schools. It's really a beautiful thing to see.
What sort of boxes does a school have to check to become a Project Adam Heart Safe school?
So initially starting out, we have kind of 4 steps we go through. The first step we do is called a risk assessment. I come out and I look at the equipment all throughout the school and make sure that we're able to get that equipment deployed rapidly to the patient. Just like I said, time is the most important thing. The second step is a cardiac emergency response plan. Each school nurse spent several hours putting together a plan of action that said, this is what we're going to do if we find somebody who's having a life-threatening emergency, and these are the people who are going to intervene, and these are the roles that they're going to play. That's the second step. The third step, they run practice drills with that team I just mentioned, and they practice and practice, and every time you run a drill, you find something else you want to fix, something else you want to do better. Drills are super important, and I feel like it's probably the secret sauce to what we're doing. The more drills we run, the better we do. And then the last step is the designation drill, and that day is a full-on drill. Nobody knows exactly where I'm going to put the mannequin down. I grab a random person in the hallway and I say, hey, we have a medical emergency. This tests that awareness piece. This says everybody on staff knows how to get that emergency team activated and coming to save that life. Throw the mannequin down, people come running, they do their things. We call 911 that day. We get the fire department to come out. By the way, Springdale Fire and Rescue, one of the most amazing services here in our state. They're pretty amazing. And so getting them here and letting them work through some of this with us is also strengthening that chain of survival from the very beginning to the very end.
Well, and Lynn, what was the light bulb moment for you where you were like, okay, this is something we need to have here within Walker Elementary School for our families, staff, and students?
Yes, well, Nurse Candace came to me and talked to me about Project Adam, and the exciting thing about it was the drill time. When we had staff and myself trained in CPR, we hadn't ever put in action a drill as if it were a real medical emergency here in the building until Project Adam. And so that just took it to the next level so that if it did happen in reality, we would be prepared with what to do and when.
And then, Charles, can you tell me the value of having a team that's trained with an AED, trained in CPR? How important is having that specialty here while they're waiting for the ambulance, paramedics, and individuals from EMS to get here?
Sure, I don't want to just continue to say the same thing over and over, but the longer we wait, so what we know, the fact is for every minute that CPR is delayed, the patient's chances of survival go down by 10%. You know, we always throw out this cynical quote, what is luck? Like everybody that I've ever talked to that survived in medical emergency like this was lucky, right? Well, what is luck? Luck is when preparedness and opportunity come together. And it's all about preparedness on the front end. Like I said, your fire department, EMS services here are at the very top of the line, the very best. And we have very qualified facilities here to take care of our patients. But if we don't do that first piece, that's what's the most important part. And it's so cool to see these teams doing such an amazing job.
Ezra, I got to watch you in action in the drill too. It was pretty super cool. What made you decide that you wanted to be a part of something like this as a student?
Well, first of all, it just seemed really cool to learn how to just do this and learn how to help people. So I just wanted to learn how to help people, and that's just what I like to do, just like everyday life.
Did you know what an AED was before you did this training?
I did not. When I was walking around school, I noticed them, but I never really knew what they were.
And what do you think about now when you see those boxes on the wall of the school?
Now I think about like how important those tools are to save a life, and how important they are just to, I think about how I know how to use them now, and how I know it's just really, and how I know like how important they are, you know?
And Lynn, how has this certification changed the way you look at safety in the school for your staff, students, and families?
Well, number one priority in a school is always student and staff safety, and so with this being able to just have our staff even more prepared in a medical emergency to know what to do, and so I think that it's just an extra added benefit that we've been able to have, and we're thankful for the opportunity to get this certification.
And what's the most important thing you think you learned when you guys did your last drill here at the school?
I think I learned that we all are able to work well together as a team. We responded quickly, and everybody was prepared.
It was really kind of, I felt for the young woman who was in the staff area when they did it, because it was like her first day. And Charles was like, here you go. So was just passed out, you know, she was, I mean, she reacted and everything, but she was like, she was forewarned the drill was going to happen. She's like, oh, I just hope it doesn't happen around me. And then it happened right at her feet. But even she responded.
Yes.
Ezra, what was the drill like for you?
Well, the adrenaline was really pumping. I get like nervous, but I also get like kind of excited. I just like start doing compressions and like the ambu bag and all that, and it just gets me excited, but also really nervous. And after that, I just get tired.
Oh, yeah, I can appreciate that. That adrenaline wears off and you start to get tired. What's kind of going through your head when you're doing the compressions and working alongside the principal and teachers?
Okay, I've done this before. I can do it. I know how to do it. I know what to do. I got this. And also the song, like Staying Alive, like that rhythm.
It was amazing, and thank you for that, and thank you for doing that. You know, it's really, really exciting, and it's something you don't have to be involved in. It's something you chose to be involved with. Lynn, can you share an instance where a Project Adam team has actually gone into action here at the school?
We did. We had a gentleman who went down, our school bus driver, and he collapsed on the floor. And he was able to receive CPR, chest compressions, and breaths to be able to wake up prior to the paramedics being on the scene.
Nice.
What was that moment like for you guys going through that? And I mean, we talk about things in theory, but you kind of hope you don't have to do the things that are theorized.
Yeah.
But you guys were living out that moment. What was that like?
I think whenever you see it in action, your first thoughts are, I've trained for this, I'm prepared to do this, and you just step into, just like in the drill.
It's exactly what you said, right? I can do this, I got it. Did that change or hone at all how you see the Project Adam team, or maybe even validate the decision making that went into it for you?
I think for me, it just shows that even those of us who aren't medical professionals, we are able to step in and provide those necessary chest compressions and breaths in a timely manner so that, like Charles said, that patient is able to have oxygen getting to the brain and the needed things that he needed to be able to make a full recovery.
And Ezra, what would you tell a student who maybe doesn't know about Project Adam or doesn't have it at their school? What might you communicate to them?
I would tell them about how it's important to know how to do it and know what to do. Like, if my friend was in danger, I would want to be able to step in and help, even if it's just getting an adult or something like that.
So do you feel that students have a responsibility too during an emergency, just like the adults?
I definitely do. They can, if they know how to do compressions, they can start doing the compressions and get an adult. And yeah, and even just getting the adult, that helps a lot. That's their role.
So true.
Yeah,
So
it really
true.
does. Going for help and knowing who to contact, that's very true. And being able to trust those adults and know that they're there to help you. Charles, what's your hope for Project Adam in the state of Arkansas? Where do you hope it goes from here into the future?
So I know I skipped over a question you asked about Arkansas Children's kind of leading this in our state, and I just want to give credit where credit's due. One of our nursing leaders actually got Project Adam started prior to the pandemic, and they had a couple. I think they had 20 or 30 schools going, and it was going well, and they were had good progress. And then the pandemic happened, and it kind of all fizzled out. So March 2023, we did our very first Heart Safe designation to restart the program. And this week on Thursday, I did Heart Safe School number 300 in Greenwood, Arkansas, and I'm so excited about that progress, and I'm looking forward to the future. And of course, every school deserves to have the same response plan and team in place, and awareness level in place as this life-saving school does here. So that is the goal that I wake up and live every day, and am very proud to be a part of.
That is so cool. We're so grateful too. What you're doing impacts all of us, because these students are going to grow up with that knowledge and take it out into the community too, which is just
Love that.
amazing. And I have to imagine that Walker is not the only school out of those 300 that have had to put Project Adam in action, where their teams have had to pick up the kit and go.
Absolutely.
So thank you. Thank you for the work all of you are doing, even you, Ezra, for keeping our schools a safe place to live and learn. Is there anything you guys would add to the conversation? Anything I didn't think to mention?
Well, I'm just really glad that I was able to learn how to just do this and like just save someone.
Me too.
Wonderful.
Learn how to.
Yeah, me too.
That's awesome.
I would add that this was our first time to add onto our team. This is our second year being certified, and we just recertified, and we added a student group to the team, and this is our first time doing so. And so I would encourage any other schools that haven't added the student piece that is a great added benefit, because there are more of us in the building, more of them than there are of us, and so we're thankful to have Ezra and other students that were trained in CPR this year.
Yep. And equipped at this age level. A lot of times people wouldn't think that, gosh, an elementary student, I mean, Boy Scout maybe, learn CPR, but not necessarily within the school system. So thank you for that too. I hope you never have to use that skill again.
Me too.
But I'm grateful that all of you will be there in the event someone needs some life-saving
Yeah,
aid.
I'm
Thank you
grateful
for
that I
joining
did.
us today.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Springdale Today. You can catch this and previous episodes of Springdale Today on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, and listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. We look forward to chatting with you next time on Springdale Today.
Springdale Today is a production of the Springdale Public Schools Communications Office.
The podcast is hosted by Mary Jordan and is produced and edited by Micah DeLacy.
Be sure to subscribe to Springdale Today for free on your favorite podcast platform.
And don't forget to follow Springdale Today on social media for episode updates
and behind-the-scenes conversations.
Thank you for listening. We hope you join us in the future as we continue to learn about the amazing stories happening in Springdale today.